Hello everyone. This is the 27th part of the story Game of Thrones, The Prideful One. Chapter 131. Peter's execution was incredibly dull. Besides him screaming and begging for mercy, it was just a boring ordeal altogether. And while I did make an enemy out of this, it was one I could afford to ignore. In the end, I had decided to not tell the Lords of Vale that their lord was a bastard. The kid had no faults besides being stupid, and with that set everything was finally done. I had no opposition. I was the king of this fucked up world. Now it was time to focus on my last enemy, the Night King, aka the Great Value Lich King, and I already had a few people working on that, with Daenerys supervising them. For one, I ordered Jon to oversee the mining of all the dragonglass on his newly acquired lands. And going back to that, Daenerys was quite happy that Targaryen name would not die. She even found herself liking Lord Stark for saving her nephew, but going back to the plans for war. Jon was mining all the dragonglass possible, ensuring we had more than enough for the upcoming war. Ned Stark was using some of the dragonglass to reinforce the buildings in the north and put on some traps. After all, they were the first line of defense. Melisandre was creating magically reinforced weapons that were almost as effective as Valyrian steel. With her technique, all steel could be lethal to the others. Daenerys, on the other hand, was overseeing the Dragon Forge, making weapons with the dragon fire of Crow and Regal, and of course checking in all the other projects. As for me, well, I was focusing on learning how to use my fire properly. I needed to have every power in my arsenal ready to kill. That's it. Let the emotions flow through your fire, Neltharion instructed happily. On a teacher, I chuckled, trying once again, making a bit more of fire with each punch. I'm getting there, but not fast enough, I sighed. You are improving faster than me. Don't worry, Neltharion hissed happily. Besides, you have an awesomely handsome and capable teacher, he joked. I suppose, I chuckled, continuing with my training. At least I was preparing for the ice sucker, though I had yet to come with a plan to fight him, one-on-one that is. Jon Targaryen point of view. I had an aunt. It was certainly a good feeling. She was so harsh with everyone, but when it came Ronard, the royal kids, and me, she was so nice. It was a weird feeling. I never had someone treating me, and I mean specifically me, like that. Was this how it felt to be part of a family and not a stranger living among others? Well, whatever it was a good thing. Lord Targaryen, one of the soldiers Ronard had put on my hands, called me. Yes? I turned to him, wondering what did he want. The dragonglass mines have some minor problems I would like to discuss before we go any deeper, the soldier stated. Anything that can threaten the lives of the workers? I asked with concern. Depends. Is left unattended, it will eventually kill someone. Right now? No, the soldier answered. I see, I sighed in relief. You have my permission to proceed however you see fit. Thanks for the vote of confidence, Lord Targaryen, the man nodded excitedly. I won't fail you. Well, this is something I will never get used to, people looking for my approval, and the whole Lord title. All of this is so different to what I was used to, but Ronard believes in me, believes that I will rule this house with honor. That I will never betray him, and that's something I plan to keep. Lord Targaryen. One of the downsides of being a lord, everyone wants to talk to you. Yes? I turned to look at the new soldier coming up. Lord Robb is here to see you, the man announced. He arrived a few minutes ago. Robb was here? Guide him in. Don't make my brother wait. They didn't, Robb answered before the man even had the chance to do so, but in their defense, I am your brother, Robb smirked. Privileges only a few can have, I smirked back. How is the lordly life treating you? Robb asked as he hugged me. It's not bad, but is full of work, so much paperwork. I groaned. I don't know how Ronard does it. I have never seen him doing any paperwork. Well, if ever find out how he avoids the paperwork, be a good brother and let me know, Robb laughed. I will, I chuckled. Arya, Bran and Rickon miss you, even Sansa, though you know her. Robb said with a smile. I miss them too, even Sansa, I smirked. Well, it seems Ronard really left a mark on you, Robb chuckled. Hard not to, that man is impressive, a true warrior, a true father, a true friend. Ronard was the right man for that throne, and after the last two kings he would be seen as a god. He is, Robb nodded, and then with a playful smile asked, "Any future Lady Targaryen on the sights?" I almost choked. "No." "I heard Lady Marjorie is quite the beauty," Rob smirked. "I don't think getting a wife is the right choice, right now. Besides, there was no way I would marry Lady Marjorie. She was a viper waiting for an idiot to fall. Besides, all I wanted was someone to be my partner, someone to love me so that I could love her. I didn't care for her status or anything. Marjorie would only use me to rise the ranks." "I suppose," Rob nodded solemnly, "with those things coming, it would be best if we didn't leave any widows." "Yes," I nodded. Ned Stark point of view. Ronard had tasked me with protecting the wall, for the north was the first line of attack should the others break the wall, with Jon sending dragonglass and the knowledge we had about these monsters. I had a somewhat decent defense should they attack. Part of the north defense was all the wildfire Ronard had acquired on King's Landing, should they cross the wall. I would blow up the forest between the wall and the north, reason why I had evacuated the towns near the war. For if the time came where I needed to blow up those monsters, I didn't want any reason to hesitate. "You are leaving?" Caitlin asked. "Yes," I nodded. "Can I come?" Kat inquired. "No," the king was clear, "you are to never leave Winterfell," I answered. "I that man," Kat sighed in desperation, "then I will wait for you. I know it's hard, but if you want the king to be more forgiving the next time he sees you, you need to obey his word." I kissed her. "Besides, the wall is a very boring place." "I know." Kat nodded. Chapter 132. I woke up with the sudden sensation someone or something was watching me, but what? The fuck? I muttered, struggling to keep my eyes open. I had barely fallen asleep a few hours ago, and I was a heavy sleeper. As if answering my question, a shadow moved past the window on my room, to the next one, waking the hell up of me. "Is everything okay?" Daenerys inquired, groggily waking up as she pulled my shorts to get my attention. "No. I just need to check something," I decided against telling her, as I left the room, going over to where I had seen the shadow moving. The sounds of someone tapping the floor with their feet became louder and louder, as you would expect in a horror movie, but this was no movie, all right. I don't play games, so either come out and die fast, or come out and die slowly. A man has no need to use such vulgar language, for a man comes in peace. Oh great. Mr. Dokilalittle is here. I thought we had a deal, I barked at him. A man is but a loyal servant to the god of many faces, the god of death. A man is here on its orders, the assassin shrugged, but a man is not here to hurt you or your family. I was sent here to help you. Well, that was unexpected. Why? I inquired with genuine curiosity. What is death, Ronard? The assassin answered with a question. I sighed in annoyance at not getting the answer right away, but I suppose I can humor him. Death is the end of the road. A way to see it, but it's also peace for those who deserve it, or suffering for monsters within ourselves. But that's not the answer, not really. The assassin smiled. Death is life. One can't exist without the other. Life without death is meaningless. Death without life is nothing. Death is balance, Ronard. And it clicked me. And what the Night King wants to do will destroy that balance, right? Yes, the assassin nodded. Destruction of all life will bring nothing but chaos, and a man can't allow that. No life means no death. No life and death mean nothing. And you just had that epiphany? I inquired, wondering why the sudden change of heart. A few months ago. The assassin answered, just know the faceless men are yours to command. For the duration of this war, death is by your side, as so is life. You mean the god of light? I chuckled. Sure, let's think he is. Life is always with you, as death is always with me. Two sides of the same coin. I learned to accept death as it is a long time ago. You still have yet to accept life as it is. The assassin sighed. A man needs a room, or at least a corner to sleep in. Take any room, I'll let the guards know. And don't switch your face. I won't play hide and seek with you, I ordered, ignoring his previous comment. A man will do as you command. The assassin bowed, leaving my sight. Leaving me with questions. Was this a sign this war coming up was such a wall I had to overcome, that death itself gave me a hand? One day without crazy shit, is that too much to ask? I muttered, going back to my room. Caitlin Stark point of view. Ronard had won. In the end he had obtained the crown, and had put everyone under his feet, a monster ruling the 7 kingdoms. Making the bastard a noble just to spite me. Everyone believes he did because John is actually a Targaryen, but that is nothing but a lie. The bastard looks exactly like Ned, much to my pain, but Ronard knew that would hurt me, that the fact a bastard had now more power than me would humiliate me beyond belief. "Mother, supper's ready," Sansa announced entering my room. "Is everything all right?" my daughter inquired after seeing my agitated state. "No, it's not." "Ronard," I started, but Sansa cut me off. "Would you stop that? It's getting boring really. First was John, now Ronard. Just live your life, and stop this nonsense," Sansa groaned in annoyance. "He made the bastard a noble." "A noble? He is no Targaryen. He did that just to hurt me." I barked at her. Sansa sighed, giving me a fierce look. "You give yourself too much credit. Ronard barely acknowledges you." She then shrugged. "Besides, John deserves that. After all we made him go through. Frankly, Mother, at this point is sad. Not only for you but for us as a family to hear you ramble about how much you hate Ronard." "So you are okay with that bastard having more power than you, than us?" I laughed bitterly. "Perhaps you also want to sleep with the bastard, and betray me once more." "Well, this is a new low, even for you," Sansa sighed. "And who knows, he's my cousin, by law that's allowed, so don't tempt fate, Mother. I might marry John just to spite you." "The nerve, I'm still your mother, Sansa, and you will respect me." "I learned with the monster you hate that respect is earned, so if you want respect, work for it," Sansa shot back. "Dinner's ready, come and eat, or stay here. At this point I don't care," Sansa added as she walked out of the room. "You won't leave until I say so," I shouted. "You are not the lord of the house. Bran is until Dad comes back. By all means go tell him how bad I have been, but until then, I'll see you at the dinner table." Sansa smiled, walking off into the distance. My little obedient little princess turned against me. How can I not hate Ronard, when this is the result of the time she spent with him? I just couldn't. He destroyed my family. Arya's stark point of view. I looked at Sansa with a newfound admiration as I chuckled. "You know she will never forget this, right?" "I do," Sansa shrugged. "Well, as long as Father is by our side she can't do anything." I smiled. "Not that I care. I just find her newly acquired stupidity to be annoying," Sansa said, rolling her eyes. I smirked. "You used to be like her." "Ugh, don't remind me." Sansa sighed. "How's your training coming?" "Good, though. I still lose every time I fight against any of the soldiers, and I know they hold back," I complained. "By my age Ronard was undefeated, kicking arses left and right." "He is a special case for most things," Sansa commented, "so don't use his accomplishments as a guideline, use them more as a suggestion list." "I guess, but I want to be strong enough to be his knight and protect him, and I can't right now," I nodded. "One day, you will," Sansa chuckled, patting my head. "One day you will." Chapter 133. Fire was both life and death, innovation and destruction, the means to an end. Whether that end was good or bad depended on the person. Fire was only a tool. What you could do with it, well, that was up to the person in question. For me, fire was like a way to release my pent-up anger and frustration. I didn't ask for anything of this, yet I was the one that had to deal with it, and using my fire helped me alleviate that pain. It was like taking part of that load in my back as a fuel. It was liberating. The more I learned how to use my fire, the better I felt. Of course, the feeling of relief was only temporary, for the weight on my back would always come back, but for that brief moment, I was igniting my pain away. Was it healthy? Probably not, but the medicine for my pain was one thing, and one thing only, the end of this stupid song. For me to finally feel at peace, I would have to kill the Night King, and end this, once and for all. But until I could do that, I would bottle up my pain, and burn that shit away. But this was no way to live. I had to face my inner demons if I wanted to truly be free of my restraints, if I truly wanted to be free. Otherwise, I would be a slave of the consequences. Come, I have, YRSSS. In need of me, I felt you were, YRSSSS, wrote Akkad, as he flew over my shoulder. Troubled mind you have, peace at yourself, you can't achieve. I looked at the raven, with curiosity. Any ideas? YRSSS, meditate you must, for the answer lies within you, wrote Akkad in answer. Meditation, well, not that I have anything to lose, I sighed. Perhaps it was worth giving it a chance. Meditation was hard, or perhaps I was simply bad at it, because I sat for hours trying to find the answer within myself. Was I mad all the reincarnation deal didn't go as planned? Or perhaps I was mad at the fact that good-for-nothing God is putting everyone's future in my hands? I was mad at myself, because I felt inadequate, without all the blessings I had been given. Who was I? Without them, where would I be? Without those things, what worth did I have? Found the answer you have, wrote a cod. I think I did. I muttered, looking at my hands. MRR, no. The problem found you have, the answer still within you is. YRSSSS, wrote a cod. I found my problem. Well, I suppose that's the first step, so I must meditate again? I inquired with a low chuckle. No, for the answer you already know, within you is. Rhoda shook his little head off. I was giving everything that makes me who I am, my strength, my skills, even you guys. I sighed, looking at Rhoda. I feel lost, for without the blessings of the gods I hate so much by now, I would be nothing. Forget it, is stupid. I chuckled. It is motherfucker, or Raven with a little, wait. Nick Fury? Who fucking cares who gave you what? We work with what we have, and what we don't have we take it and make it ours. You are killing yourself with what-if scenarios. Stop that bullshit, before I give you an eye patch. Well, that was a first. I never expected one of my ravens to talk to me like that. What if ravens didn't have wings? Well, we would walk motherfucker. What if sharks didn't breathe underwater? They would walk motherfucker. Everything everyone has is given by someone else, but we make it ours. So stop sulking and make everything you got yours. Nick Fury cawed, ending his speech, and I will not lie, it did strike all the chords. Make everything mine. I laughed. Nick Fury was right. I had been thinking all this time, these powers, this destiny wasn't mine, that I had changed the story with my presence, that I was more harm than good. Fuck all of that. Fuck the gods. Fuck the Resident Evil rip-offs beyond the wall. Everything I had, I would make it truly mine. Ron, we must, Rhoda stated. I see that. Nick Fury cawed, flying out of the area. This fire, this body, these skills, this world, this song, they were all mine, and if not, I would make them mine. With that liberating feeling running through my veins, I pushed my hands forward, igniting the infernal flames within me. And with a powerful primal roar, I set the entire training area on fire, turning the vast area into an inferno, engulfing every inch of it, as I let everything that weighed me down burn alongside my doubts. Wow, I am an amazing teacher, Neltharion commented as he flew around the area. Ha 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 ha, I laughed, for it had been a while since I felt like this, free. Three-eyed Raven point of view. The knight had finally done it. He had managed to resurrect one of the oldest dragons in existence, to serve him. And he now had everything he needed to destroy the barrier keeping him from reaching the world of the living behind the wall. Is he ready? Leaf inquired. He doesn't have much time left. Is he ready or not? He has to be. I answered, not really sure if he was ready to face this challenge quite yet, but then, deep within the roots of the sacred tree, I felt something. Something unimaginably hot, as if the sun itself was walking on earth. A quick connection to the roots showed me what had happened a few minutes ago. Ronald was standing with his unique ravens, and then fire, lots of fire, burning everything. What happened? Leaf inquired, pulling my shirt. I think we might have a chance after all, I answered, for our champion had defeated one of his enemies already, the one hiding within himself. Daenerys' point of view. The long night was coming, and we had to be ready. Ronald wasn't the only one that had stakes in this fight, so he didn't have to be the only one suffering. We all had. This fight was for everyone, and everyone had to do their part, whether they like it or not. How close to Valyrian steel are the last batch? I inquired, the blacksmith. Similar, could pass as one to the untrained eye, but they are pale copies compared to the real thing, the blacksmith grunted, as he observed the blade, but we are getting close. This last batch is better than the last one. We just need something we're missing. Well, I heard the Valyrian I was cut off by the sight of a blazing inferno, coming from where my husband was training. No one but him and Neltharion were there. The fire was so big, I almost felt the heat from where I was. Is that? Crow hissed, looking at the fire. Well, Neltharion will never let us forget this. Regal hissed at his brother, with an annoyed look. Yes. Crow hissed back. They seemed to be okay, not worrying a single bit about what was happening at the training place, which probably meant Ronard was okay. He was fireproof either way, but what type of training was he doing that led to that fire breaking free? Chapter 134. It was liberating to burn away my fears, or to be more accurate, to burn away my emotional baggage. With the fire engulfing me, I felt peace within myself. I was finally free of the chains I had put on my own mind. I was finally free. That was awesome, Neltharion hissed, excitedly. It was, I chuckled, seeing the ashes that were all that remained from the training camp. Good thing I trained here only with Neltharion. Free you are, move forward you must, YRSSS. Rhoda commented, flying above me. I knew you had it, you motherfucker, Nick Fury cawed, happily. Now all I had to do was train my mind and body to face the last wall between me and peace, for I had to be ready to burn everything on my path to achieve that. With determination, I focused on bending the flames of the infernal fire within me, combining it with the natural flames that still lingered around the training camp, noticing that now it was surprisingly easier. After all, I had nothing stopping the flames within me from burning away. It seems I can now summon the flames with ease, I smirked as I held a fireball within my hand. Once you break that wall, the fire spreads, setting your very core in flames. Neltharion hissed, you started a fire within the forest of your soul, a fire that can't be put down. That's how our fire works. A fire within the forest of my soul, huh? Neltharion has a knack for poetry. I don't mind, it's mine anyways. I smiled, this fire was mine, I made it mine. Ned Stark point of view. I had finally arrived at the wall, concern being my motivator. With the north being the first line of defense, things were very dire. The others could come at any second now, and we barely had a plan. Not that I blame Ronard, he was fighting and planning 2 wars at the same time. If anything, I respect him even more. But because I respected him and cared for the north, I was concerned that my plans alone would prove to be useless against the others. But it's better to try and fail than to simply accept defeat. Lord Stark, to what do we owe this pleasant visit? Alistair, the current Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, said, taking a small bow. I want to see the state of the wall. I have some concerns about it, I answered, going straight to the point. It would be an honor to give you a tour, Alistair smiled, as he gestured to me with one hand to follow him. As I followed, I noticed the deplorable state the watch was. Nothing but a few warriors, and they didn't look like much. No wonder Ronard tasked me with this. As how the wall is now, there is no way they can withstand an attack. As you can see, the wall has seen better days, but I'm making sure things go back to the old days of glory, Alistair commented as she showed me around. Where's my brother? I inquired. He is cleaning the stables, Alistair answered, as he kept walking. I need to talk with him. Why was the first ranger of the Night's Watch cleaning stables? That didn't make any sense. Ben Jen was one of the best and most trusted members of the Watch. Something here was wrong. He is busy right now, Lord Stark. We can't have him lose focus now, can we? Alistair smiled, but there was some venom on his voice. I want to see my brother, now, I ordered. Like I said, he is busy, Lord Stark. Need I remind you, only the king can order me? Alistair grinned. Now do you want that tour, or do you want to leave? Either way, your brother is busy. How fucking dare he? I have come here, under my king's command, Ronard Mormont, first of his name, breaker of chains, father of dragons, son of the north, king of Essos, and the ruler of the known world. You will lead me to my brother, or I will break this castle down finding him, your choice. I know no king by that name, Alistair hissed at me. I will take that as treason, I growled, unsheathing my blade. I am the king's justice in the north, and you will taste my steel. The King Joffrey will not allow this, Alistair barked, as he too unsheathed his blade. Protect Lord Stark. My soldiers shouted, readying their swords. Threatening a lord, really? Did you hit your head with my old desk that much? I knew that voice, Jeor Mormont, the former Lord Commander of the Watch. He might be a lord, but he doesn't hold any power here, only the king does, and he seems to be believing your grandson is the king, Alistair smirked, a delirious thought, that's for sure. Insulting the king is a crime that is paid with life itself. I would not let anyone disrespect Ronald. I owe him my life, and much more. I was a knight of his round table, that alone meant something. So my grandson managed to do it, impressive, Jeor Mormont commented. Stand down, Alistair, you are making a fool out of yourself with all this charade. You no longer hold power over me, Jeor, so stay out of this. Alistair barked at Jeor as he started to walk towards me with his blade ready. I promised to protect the wall from its enemies, and Lord Stark is an enemy of the crown. But someone stopped him. One of the watch members behind him approached him silently and using a long knife, he opened the throat of the commander, making the former fall on his knees, holding his throat tight with desperation with no avail. Alistair's blood ran out onto his clothes, and a few seconds later of slow agony, he died. A man talked too much. The watch member commented, looking at me. A man works with Ronald, so a man has no need to fight you. Who are you? Jeor Mormont inquired, with concern. A man has no name, but a man is known as a faceless man, the man answered. Why did you kill him? I asked, not that I wasn't going to do it myself. We have no time to waste with this type of person. Time is of essence, and we must act, the man answered. He killed our commander. One of the night watch soldiers growled angrily. He tried to clash blades with a lord that was sent by the king himself. He was dead a long time ago, Jeor Mormont sighed. Now, you wanted to see your brother Lord Stark? I looked at Jeor for a second before nodding. Would you take me to him? Sure, though I can't walk as fast as I would like, but you can tell me about my grandson along the way, Breaker of Chains. What an interesting title he has, Jeor Mormont chuckled. It would be my pleasure, I smiled. To think my grandson would clean the family name to such extent, truly the best possible thing I could ask for, Jeor Mormont smiled. Now follow me, your brother is a bit far away from here, for me at least. Chapter 135. Ned Stark point of view. I followed Jeor Mormont across the castle, little by little growing worried about my brother's state. Was he okay? Did they do something to him? Why would they? Was it because of Jon? Fear not, Lord Stark, your brother is fine. Well, he is in one piece. I made sure no one harmed him, but I couldn't stop Alistair from imprisoning him, like I couldn't stop him from being an idiot a few moments ago, Jeor Mormont commented as if he was reading my mind. Why? I asked. Well, Alistair grew wary of him after your son escaped, and Benjen challenged him every step of the way, but with a good reason. Alistair was being unfair to everyone. The little power he had went to his head. He felt like a king, truly sad. Jeor Mormont sighed as he pointed. Here we are. I looked inside the cell, seeing my brother sleeping on the ground like a dog, with nothing but a bowl of water beside him, making me regret I wasn't the one killing that bastard of Alistair, Benjen. I called him. Ned? Benjen said as he woke up, startled by voice. Why are you here? Apparently saving your sorry arse, I said as Jeor Mormont opened the cell. Alistair let you set me free. Odd, Benjen sighed. He is dead, not by my hands sadly, I stated. How? Who? Benjen inquired. It's a long story, I answered. After explaining Benjen what had happened, and why I was here, he visibly relaxed, saying he had seen the army of the others firsthand, and that we weren't ready to face it. Even with the weapons of Dragonglass Ronald had sent to the wall, Benjen was sure we would lose the wall if a battle broke free. The others are terrifying, Ned. The move is a singular unit, no fear, no hesitation. Their sheer numbers alone are more than enough to crush any army, Benjen commented with a worried expression. Is the king ready for this? Ronald, has been preparing for this for a long time. We might not be completely ready, but we have a fighting chance, that much I know, I replied. After all, we had thousands of Dragonglass weapons, and other tools to face the others, including the dragons we had on our side. A fighting chance, that's better than nothing, Benjen sighed. I have also set some defensive measures in case the others cross the wall, I informed Benjen. Like what? Jeor Mormont inquired, taking a seat in front of us. Well, after the battle in King's Landing, Ronald acquired a massive quantity of wildfire, and with that I set traps around the forest, making sure to evacuate everyone from the nearby villages, I told them. You plan to set the forest on fire. That would slow them down for a bit, and if we are lucky, it would kill quite a few of those things, Ben-Jen said in deep thought. Did you bring some of that wildfire here to the wall? I nodded. We might want to set some of it inside, in case we know there is no chance to stop them, Jeor Mormont offered. That was part of my reason to come here, I informed them. I wanted to make the entire wall a bomb, making the wall our first line of defense and offense. That would certainly be helpful, Ben-Jen nodded. As we continued to talk about strategies, the ground began to shake, with a rhythm. Then, with a loud roar that made everyone in the vicinity clutch their head in pain, I ran towards the widow, but I saw nothing. What was that? I inquired. We have to evacuate, Ben-Jen answered. The others are moving towards the wall, Jeor Mormont commented. Bring the wildfire, set the trap, and leave. I will set the wall into flames. I can't let you do that. I shook my head. Ned, I'm old. I lived long enough to see my family crumble with my son, and rise with my grandson, if I live. I will be nothing but a burden. I'd rather die like a warrior, being useful, than to die like an old man that couldn't do nothing. Besides, it's not that bad. I'm going out on my own terms, Jeor Mormont reassured. I will go down with as many fuckers I can take. Your grandson will be proud of you, I nodded, knowing full well how stubborn the Mormonts were when they made a choice. Not more than I am of him, now. Bring the wildfire. We don't have time to waste, Jeor Mormont smiled. You heard the man. Start setting up the trap. I shouted as I ordered my men to move as fast as they could with the plans. Ronald Mormont point of view. Is that all you can do? Neltharion taunted. Do you want to be the first dragon to be burned alive? I smirked at him as I dodged the stream of fire he blew at me. As if you could. Neltharion hissed. You ask for it, son, I smirked, taking a deep breath, gathering all the fire I could within myself, as I then expelled from my mouth into a literal sea of flames that immediately covered the dragon in a wave of infernal fire that leaves nothing to be seen behind him. I knew you had a dragon in you. Neltharion hissed happily, smoke coming out of his scales. That was the best fire breath I have seen. Well, I had a good teacher, I praised him. Well, that's true. Neltharion hissed happily. I think you are ready, now we can finally spar for real. Sparring with a dragon, well, I suppose he is the only one strong enough to push me, fine by me, I smirked. Oberyn Martell point of view. My brother had arrived from Dorne, for he now had a reason to finally come to this once cursed city that was tainted by the blood of Elia, but had now been cleansed by Ronard. Hello, brother, I greeted. Hello, Doran smiled, anything new? Well, where do I begin? And so I started, explaining my brother that the real war has barely just begun, that the others were coming and that Ronard alone was not enough to face them, and that as the loyal allies we were, we had to help our king with all our might. The others, that's a bedtime story for children, Doran sighed. So were the dragons, this is real Doran. We need everything we can provide and even that we cannot, I said with a serious tone. This was not a laughing matter, this was life or death, and I wanted to live. You believe him? Doran inquired, looking at me firmly. With every fiber of my body, he is not only my king, but my friend. I answered without hesitation. I was a knight of his round table, his friend, his brother in the battlefield, and I would not let him down. Very well, Doran sighed. You only get serious if the subject requires you to. If Ronard and his tales have so much weight with you, I will do everything to help you too, better safe than sorry. Yes, that's the gist of it, I laughed. This marks the end of part 27 of the story Game of Thrones, The Prideful One. Thank you for listening. Please like the video and hit the subscribe button to listen more. Hit the bell icon to get notified of all the new content uploaded to the channel ASAP.